All right, really simple exercise today. Again, designed to just keep you a little bit looser because I have a lot of students that complain about getting all tense and tight. So this isn't meant to be a proper painting. This is just an exercise to practice. So I'm going to do some windows in like a English manner type wall. So I'm just giving myself a little bit of a square rectangle this here. I'm going to put in a couple of windows. So I'm going to pretend that I've got two sets of windows in this. And again, not overthinking my sketch. I've got some stuff. I've just got a little HB pencil. So that's all I'm going to paint, sketch in. So synthetic flat brush. I'm going to use, I think, some yellow ochre initially. So I'm going to pick up some milky paint, and I'm just going to drag that through. It's probably not quite the right size brush. So my page is dry. I'm just picking up the paint, dropping that in, and I'm going to leave white paper there for my windows. Bring that down. Close up the shape. I might switch to I need a brush somewhere in between this size and this size for this, but I don't have it. So I'm going to switch to a smaller brush, drag a couple of lines of yellow ochre up there, and maybe I'll give it another one across the top there. Down the bottom here, I'm just going to take some, what have I got here? I might go in here. I've got some sepia in here, so some Van Dyke Brown or some burnt umber, and I'm just going to paint myself a dark across the bottom, and I'm not going to worry too much about what's happening on either side for this. Now I want to have a look at the windows. Now what I don't want to do is get too fussy here. I want to just suggest some windows, so I'm going to stick with this brush I think initially. I'm going to pick up got some indigo in my well here, and I'm just going to drag a couple of brush shapes in, but what I don't want to do, I'm going back and forth because I don't want them to all be the same shape. I want them to be a bit messy. And while that's drying, I'm going to take a smaller synthetic brush, and I'm just going to drag some thicker paint through those and rough up those shapes a little. I'm not after really tight shapes here. I just want the suggestion. Now while I've got water in my page, I'm going to wash that small brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of my sepia, and I'm just going to drag a couple of darks through. Well, not darks, just a couple of lines through. But with all of those, I'm not going to pull a line all the way through. I'm just going to break them, let them break up a bit. Just a bit of stuff around. Okay. Then I'm going to sit back, and I'm going to let that dry. Okay, so I'm fully dry now. So I'm going to take a little bit of, I think maybe some burnt sienna. I'm going to really milky. I want to suggest some brickwork, but I don't want to paint in individual bricks. I'm not interested in that. So really milky. So a lot of water in there, just making a small puddle. Might put use a bit of the yellow ochre in there as well. And so I'm just going to come on with this flat brush, and I'm just going to drag through in a few places. Just a few horizontals and verticals. I just want the suggestion that there are some sharp, hard lines in there without having to paint every brick at the top. And if you're starting to think, oh, where else do I need to put stuff? You need to come out and come back into it again later. So you're better, working up to this rather than keeping on going. So I'll come out for a second. I might restate the dark that I had down the bottom. So I'm going to pick up a bit of my sepia and drag that back across. So I'm pretty dry down there at the moment. And I'm going to restate some of the lines under here. Maybe even a couple. So I'm just moving around, not getting hung up in any one spot. Maybe there. Now I might have a few, there might be some downpipes and that kind of thing. I might take a small brush, small synthetic. I'm going to pick up a bit of my sepia again, and I don't want a lot of water in this, so I'm going to just make sure that my brush is pretty dry and just put in just a line here or there. It doesn't have to make much sense, but I want it a little bit more, I don't want it to spread through the water, which is why I've taken the excess water off the brush. Okay. So just working around. Now, these are dried a little bit lighter than I want them, the windows. It might not look like that in the video. I might put a little bit of blue in here. So I'm going to take, I think I've got some blue. Don't know what it is. And just on some of them, and I might not be able to see it, because I actually haven't got much left in my palette. And just paint over a couple of those shapes. Again, I'm not trying to really define the windows. I don't think I've got enough blue in my palette to do it. But I'm strengthening the tone there, and if I can see a pinch of blue, that's all right. If I can't really, that's okay. I'm being lazy and not squeezing out more paint. All right, I'm going to come out of that again and let that dry. And then I'm just going to put a little cast shadow over it. Okay, I'm pretty dry now. I'm just looking, things like, I've got this line here where I came across that's really pulling my eye. I don't want to scrub that with water to get that off because I'll spread indigo everywhere. So I'm just going to grab a scalpel blade. I'm just going to scratch that off. You've got to be careful when you're scratching things. It's easy to go too much and damage the paper. But if you put the blade, on the side, you can get away with it. So I'll just take that dark out. All right. I probably would like some other bricks and things around there, but I'm just going to put in a shadow first. I might take, because I'm going to come across these windows and down to the ground here. So I've got to cover a fair area. So I want to use a reasonable size brush. So I'm going to I've got a size, I haven't got my glasses on, can't tell. It's a Neef size 12 round brush here. And I'm going to make up a puddle of indigo and maybe I've got some purple in I've got some quinacridone violet in there. Doesn't have to be that. Some darks. I'll see if I've got enough. I probably need to squeeze out more paint, but I'll see how far I can go. All right, so I'm making up a pretty big puddle. Yeah, so I've got some indigo and some violet in here. Now, before I go on to here, I just want to test the intensity of this because I don't want to come on really strong and then discover that I'm too dark. So just test a bit before I go. All right, so now I'm going to come across in one stroke. My paper's buckled because I've got a painting on the back, so I can't really get a straight line easily there. I'm going to paint that in, drag that across, and use that same colour to give a couple of darks. Maybe that needs to be straight underneath there. And then I'll come out and just let that dry. That's going to dry a lot lighter than that, and then we'll see if I need any more bricks. Okay, so it's pretty dry now. I can come and put a few more bricks and things in here. So if I pick up some yellow ochre, I've gone back to my small flat brush. And again, I'm not painting through the whole thing. I'm just putting on a few brush strokes here and there around the place. And also maybe want to see if I want to restate any of the darks around the windows. So maybe a couple of lines just to reinforce. If I don't like them, I can soften them back, just dab a tissue and pull them off. Maybe a little bit more dark if this is a definite shadow under these, under the brickwork there. And that's really all I'm going to do, and then I'm going to come out of that.